Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. Rebecca Grotte joining us here from beautiful Houston, Texas. She's the owner of her own studio, Avondale Design Studio, that is. And that's avondaledesignstudio.com. We're talking about interior design she does for you locally, residentially, commercially as well. And she's really involved in every aspect from remodeling to furnishings to lighting to appliance selection, custom drapery selections. She really does it all. And we're going to welcome her back to the show today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Great to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your company and your work. And I know today we're going to talk more about custom furniture, and I'm excited to see some of those slides.
So my name is Rebecca Grotte. I own Avondale Design Studio, primarily work in residential interior design. And I work with just about anything that has to do with the interior of your home, space planning, construction, remodeling, custom furniture, custom draperies, help you with your rugs, your lights, your sofas, your case goods, all that stuff.
Awesome. And the best form of contact, avondaledesignstudio.com.
Yes. And well, my email address is rebecca@avondaledesignstudio.com.
Perfect. All right. Let's talk about the focus of today. Would you mind sharing a little bit about the custom furniture aspect we're going to talk about?
Sure. So in the design process, a lot of people don't realize that, so as designers, we have access to the trade. So that just what that basically means is that we have more access to furnishings and design items that the public doesn't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're planning a space, a lot of times, one of the most important things to understand is there's a huge disparity between people will often wonder why certain furniture costs so much more than like one
Yeah.
sofa next to another sofa, and
Mm-hmm.
why is that? Why would you be spending three times that much on a sofa or an upholstered piece? But a lot of times whenever we're coming in, say into a living room, that if you don't have a sofa, that's going to be like the number one,
Yeah.
the one of the biggest purchases you're going to make for that room.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's, you're going to be sitting on it every day for the next, you know, 10 years, or hopefully longer than that if you get
Mm-hmm.
a good one. But to the trade access, we have a lot of vendors, and each one of them has a lot of them have their own, like, build your own program. So
Okay.
they will do, where you can have the same, sofa a, a billion different ways, different arms, different legs, different seat back heights, seat depths, and that really does matter, if you're talking about purchase a large purchase like that. And so, anyways, I just wanted to go over some basics,
Sure.
sort of what we're kind of looking for in upholstery, and what is the difference between, um, you know, why the price is going to be a lot higher for a quality piece of furniture. But again, if you're looking at it in terms of, the longevity of the sofa, and especially if you have kids, and
Yeah.
if you know that that sofa is going to get jumped on, or
Mm-hmm.
you know that you don't want it to bottom out, um, after a couple years. So I'll just go ahead and let me find the share screen real
Sure.
quick. And okay, let's see. Okay, so let's see. I can't. Okay, this is probably better. So, on this first slide is just like the basics of how, the upholstery is constructed.
Okay.
So there's usually just two different ways. Um, these are the two main ways that upholstery is
Mm-hmm.
constructed. So you can see this first one. This is called sinuous spring construction,
Mm-hmm.
and these are the ones where they're kind of like this little S shape, and they basically go from the back to the front, and then right here you see where these arrows are.
Yeah.
That's where they're attached, and
Okay.
so that's holding the weight in this type of construction. The stress is on the springs. It's concentrated on these clips. Like basically, that's where all of the mostly of the stress of the weight of this of the person sitting on it is. That's how this type of construction works. And then the second one, sorry, I just jumped too far. The second one is an eight-way hand tie construction. And this is generally the way that we like our furniture to be built. So these are individual coils, and the coils, they basically distribute the weight throughout the whole the seat. So any chair or sofa, it'll have some sort of a wooden platform base, and then the these individual springs. And then you can see in the picture here, each spring is then hand tied eight different directions. So the weight is evenly distributed across the whole seat bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so the stress is just a different way of construction, but it obviously you can tell this has to be done by hand. And so
Yeah.
that's where the construction, the labor part of
Okay.
something made this way is going to be more expensive, but it is also a much longer lasting way to construct a piece of upholstery.
Got it.
So the next slide is just an example of the way a program through Kravit, but we have Kravit's just one of the brands that we use. There's almost all of our brands have different a different type of build your own sofa.
Oh,
So
so
this is
cool.
just an example. So you can see this sofa is it's 67 wide by 37 deep. It's got all of the dimensions of the arm height, the seat height. And then it shows this particular one has a sloped front arm,
Mm-hmm.
and then a straight, like the straight back cushions, and a plinth base, which is like the whole wooden part on the bottom.
Okay.
Um, so this is a program. So as you can see here at the bottom, this sofa can come in a love seat. It can come in an extended two seat, a three seat,
Mm-hmm.
so and then an extra long. And then they have also different depths on these sofas. And
Okay.
then you can have, depending on which arm type, the arms will either be 5 inches wide or 3 inches wide.
And just curious, start to finish. After you finish the design, the person decides how long does a custom order for furniture like this take?
So these programs right now, they usually take about 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
Now they do have, I mean, within um, some of their other lines, they have quick ship programs too, but they're not as customizable. So the customizable ones are going to be 10 to 12 weeks probably
Okay. Good
from
to know.
production time. And okay, again, like if you're using a certain brand, a lot of times if you choose a fabric that's within their brand, it is included in the price. But then they also have what's called COM, which is a customer's own material.
Mm-hmm.
So if you decide that out of all their fabrics, there's not one that
Like,
we needed to go a different route with fabric, they still can do it with a different fabric. And they just provide us, how much yardage that we have to use for, or that we have to send to them for that.
Perfect.
So then with this, for that one sofa, you can see here is they've got all of these different arm types. So the sofa that you saw was just one way to do that sofa. Now you have like a more traditional English arm. A track arm is kind of like it's square. Um, and then you've got the track with a T cushion. You've
Mm-hmm.
got this rounded arm, a squared arm, and then a sloped arm. So those are the different ways that these sofas can be customizable. And then the backs, you can have the cushions made um, with a straight cushion, or you can have the T cushion, which is the cushion that goes over the arm. This particular program, you can have a channeled back, which has like the lines in the back of the sofa, and then you have a choice of legs. So you've got turned legs. The platform is like the wood base goes all the way around. Square taper. And then this is like a fully
Mm-hmm.
upholstered, uh, basically upholsters to the ground. You can have a waterfall skirt, a wood ledge, a chrome leg, a plinth base, and then they have different
Oh
seat
my,
cushion
there's
stitching.
so many choices.
Yeah,
I never realized this. It's like you buy a couch, and it's like there it is. No, oh my gosh, you can the metal, brass, the nickel, or flat base.
I
A
know.
question. Okay,
Yes.
what do you
Okay.
recommend? Because I can't stand that couches that I had have made holes in my wood, and or you're supposed to go buy the fabric to put underneath it. Why don't we all just get the flat base? Why? Why is that better or not better? If you have the flat base, isn't there a chance of less damage for your floors?
Sure. I mean,
But
that,
it's just then it's going to be flat to the ground, so it doesn't look aesthetically as good as the height. Is that true?
well, not necessarily. It really just depends on, I mean, even the flat bases, they still look good.
Okay.
They, so I'm going to show you what I did. I kind of mocked up some examples of different ways to look at this. So, and then this is just the way that the cushions are stitched. There's different ways that you can have that bias, the welting, or an invisible blind stitch, a cord around the cushion. So this is what I did. So I mocked up that same sofa a couple different ways so you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
look at just a few different ways to see the same sofa. So I'll just show you a couple at a time so that you don't get too confused. So this one on the top left actually is one that goes all the way to the ground. So you can see basically just upholstered all the way to the ground, and it does have a foot under there. It's just very short. It's a very short little hover foot that they call it. So this one has a track arm. So the track arm is like a squared arm. And this one on the right is a track arm, but this track arm goes to a T cushion. So this is a difference between a squared cushion here and the T cushion. The T cushion is the one that comes out in front of the
Okay.
arm. And then the back cushions too. You see this one has that little ear that kind of goes over the arm, and then this one is straight. So that's the difference between those two track arms and how they relate to the cushions. And then so this one has those little the tapered squared feet. So this looks a little bit more transitional in look. This one, usually these type of T cushions give it a little bit more traditional look. Um, so let's see if I go down a little bit. So the next two, this one has a squared arm, and this has a tight back. So this one has like a back that's completely upholstered back. You don't have cushions on it. So I would probably add some decorative pillows to it. Um, and then this base, it's got those wood ledge, so it doesn't sit up as high as say like these turned legs do. So it was really just a matter of preference and what you want your sofa to look like. Um, So this one right here, this has an English arm, so it's got like that rolled, like a rolled arm. It's got a little bit more of a traditional look to it. And then these last two have, they call this a sock front arm. Um, but again, this one's got straight cushions in the back. This one has a T cushion in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one is fully skirted. So this one has a waterfall
Oh
skirt
my
that goes all the
goodness.
way to the ground. Um, and
Probably better for people with kids so the toys don't get lost. Ah,
yeah,
or no, then it gets dirty. Ah,
yeah,
I'm always thinking about the kids. What's best for people with children?
right. And the other thing is that within these programs, what a lot of people don't realize too is that there's so many options now for stain
Mm-hmm.
and soil resistant fabric
Okay.
that, no matter which sofa you choose, you can, if you choose a fabric that has the stain and soil resistance,
Mm-hmm.
then that's always going to be a good choice for people that have children and that have pets,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay. Yep.
because that helps. It just helps that, if you spill something on it, it just bubbles on top of it and it doesn't go into your cushion,
Got it. Okay. Good to know.
which is great.
Yeah.
So that's those are some examples of upholstery. I don't know. I think I don't see you anymore, Jill.
I'm still there.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
my thing went. I don't know what happened. Same when I
Um,
touch the computer. I don't know why it's not. Why is it doing that? I'll come back as soon as I can. I'm hitting the button. It's not working, but I'm here physically.
all right.
What the heck?
So another thing is that you can always add nail heads, of
Here it
course,
comes.
if you want to have to add a little bit. You can add nail heads to these sofas, and then they've got some leather,
It's
different
beautiful.
colors for leather.
Like, how do you choose?
And
I
that's really
can't.
where your designer comes in, and they help you to make those choices. And then, of course, the finishes on the wood, you have choices of different wood finishes or paint finishes for these selections. So the next portion I'm going to show you is they also have programs that are for case goods. So
Okay.
I made a couple of just mock-ups of the same piece of furniture. So this is like examples of one of their programs where you can change the different styles of one particular dresser. Or so this one, the first one, it's a caned front, so it's got the caning on the front and it's got a
Mm-hmm.
black frame, and then these are called a sled base, and then they've got just a selection of different hardwares that you can choose from too. So you can really customize these pieces. The top one's got a satin brass pull on it. And then let's see, the second one, this front, I might be able to zoom that in. It's kind of hard to see, but this one has a
Okay.
really cool design on it. It's got what they call a chain link design. And I just put it in a walnut finish. And then that one has these little finger pulls for it. And then you can this one has a plinth base, so it's got like that full base on the bottom. And then same dresser, and this one is it's called Deco Bone, and so it's got like little, it's made of bone, and it has a brass like inset on each drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I chose some brass little pendant hardware for it.
Cute.
And then they have this choice of a tapered leg. So again, they have these programs that you can do the same, basically like the same type of customization, but with a case good instead of a sofa, which is they haven't always had these programs. And I think what happened, the design industry kind of learned a lot after COVID of how to present more options to people within their furniture lines because for a long time there we were not able to get like parts from overseas. Like it was
Hmm.
taking a way long time to get custom furniture made. And I think because of that, it was these type of programs were born kind of out of the necessity of being able to still service the design community during COVID. So because a lot of these places are made here in America, so it also was brought back a lot of commerce, just of using our own made in America products. So here again, we've got a custom tall chest. So this one has this top one, it's got a mirrored front, and I chose some acrylic brass pulls, and it's got little cute little satin brass legs on it, and it's got just a hickory frame. The second one has uh, what they call serene stone. It's like a faux finish of, it looks
Wow.
like marbled. And then the frame is painted gray, and it's
Hmm.
got the little single rings and bracket legs. And then this one is this one is the word beaded is referring to this bead here along the this detail that's along the each drawer is it's called a beaded detail. So
Wow.
it just has a different look dimensionally from this flat front here. So this one is beaded, and then it's in distant gray, and then I chose these little octagonal pulls and with traditional legs. So that's another program that they have that you can choose
Do some
the
people come
same.
to you and say, you just decide? There are so many choices. It gets really like, wow,
Yeah,
overwhelming.
yeah. I mean, there are a lot of choices, but it's I think that's really where
Hmm.
your designer is there to help you kind of to choose through those processes based on the color palette that you have in your room, and or within what you're already working with, developing a color palette, and making sure that these pieces that you're looking for, that's what why you're paying a designer to help you.
Wow, exactly. Yeah. Wow. I would say, okay, you could do it. What do you think? Sure. You don't realize how much goes into this. I never knew. This is wow, a
Yeah,
lot.
there's a lot to it. And so with these case goods, these are just the different finishes that you've got to choose from. I only created like three of each one, but
Hmm.
there's a way to create a lot of different combinations. But these are the finishes there that this program has, like the mirror, the cane, the bone. That one has nickel. That one has brass. There's a leather one, and then the bases. Again,
Wow.
the different
Hmm.
types of legs that you get to choose from,
Yeah.
and the standard hardware. So they've got these are included in the standard hardware, and then they have which are they're really nice choices. Like you could make great choices with any of those, and then they also have the upgraded um, that tells you what
Wow.
the names of them are. But then they have premium hardware. So they've partnered with Kravitz partnered with Modern Matter for some of these hardware are what are considered a premium hardware. And that kind of gives you those visuals up close, like that octagonal one. It looks like it's some sort of a shell or something. But really beautiful choices there for just for hardware. So,
Perfect.
anyways, let me take this off of my screen. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, stop share. There we go. Okay.
Perfect. We are back. Wow. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for this. Wow.
you're welcome.
Amazing work that you do. I'm so impressed every time. Really. Thank you.
Thank
How
you.
did you want to wrap up the summary of custom furniture for us today?
Well, I think that one of the biggest takeaway I think is really understanding upholstery and understanding like why certain upholstery is going to be it's going to cost you more than um,
Clearly.
that
All
eight-way
that
hand
work that goes
type of
into it. Yeah.
upholstery. It's you're talking about, do you want it? Yes, it's going to cost you more at the beginning, but it's going to last you. That's the type of furniture that in 10 or 15 years you would just reupholster it because the frame is, you know, very well made. And I think that's a lot of times people get tripped up on the upholstery part because they see the number at the beginning. But if you're thinking of it in terms of how many years you're going to have that sofa,
Long-term investment, and you can
yeah,
change. You don't have to throw away the couch. It's not your you can make it a whole new couch with reupholstering. And you can change
right,
some of those features on it too, right? You could change the bottom,
absolutely,
you could add the fabric, you could do the different stands, as they call them. Oh my goodness. All
yeah,
right, good. Thank you again, Rebecca. How can we reach out to you? Would you mind sharing?
sure. My email address is rebecca@avondaledesignstudio.com, and my phone number is 803-565-3101.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us. And again, a great show as always. Thank you so much. Rebecca
Thank you,
Grotte,
sir.
everyone. Tell her we sent you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the podcast business.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.